And that should be better. The one thing I didn't open up was my NVIDIA broadcast to double check that it was still pointed at my microphone. Ah! It got me. So, yo, Crypto Nation and mining family, what is going on out there for this FA Saturday, guys? Yo, what's up, what's up? Just sign language the whole video. He's signing as frantically as he can of his excitement. I don't know how to sign language, so don't do that. What's up? What's up? Thank you, Serpent, for the raid. So what's going on? Hey, what's going on, Crypto? Nico, Golden Wolf, yo, J Bohan. It's like that would be dope. Oh God. So yeah, you can tell I have not had enough of my go-go juice here, the Mountain Dew Amp. I love this shit. But there's just not enough caffeine coursing through my veins this morning. So how are all of you awesome people out there in the YouTube lands? I hope that you guys have had a good morning so far. And I printed out something cool last night. I was like, I finally got my 3D printer dialed in. So if you guys like 3D printing and stuff like that, I was thinking about, maybe doing like a 3D print Monday, bringing that back now that I've got my machine dialed in. But I printed this up. It looks stupid, right? So it's like this like little toy rocket thing. It's what they call a stomp rocket. But this is all 100% 3D printed. And everything was like printed as a separate piece. And it all slips together with a pretty good amount of tolerance, and it fucking works. There's results. So if you guys end up liking 3D printing stuff, I'll probably do like a 10-minute, 20-minute video on a Monday or something like that. Pre-record, like I'll have it all edited and everything. But yeah, I'd like to bring some of that stuff back because it's kind of fun doing the 3D print stuff on it. It like just kind of makes it. And I do pretty good editing with time lapse. So I've got all my 3D printing on time lapse. It just took me a little bit to dial in the machine after doing a few upgrades to it. So talking about upgrades, guys. Make one of that rainbow filament. I certainly can, bro. I can make one of these out of that. That'd be a good test to do this out of the 3D filament because it's the PETG. And that would give me an excuse to dial in my settings for my PETG, which wouldn't be that hard since I've got the base of the unit like operating right. Now it's just kind of dialing it in for the filament type. So much easier than where I was like a month ago, where it was horrible. It would fail prints like crazy, and then I figured it out. It's what happens when you're not a true maker on 3D printing. I'm a machinist. It's a little different going over to the plastic side, but I digress. But talking about upgrades, guys. This is not a shill for Cool My GPUs. So this is where I've been grabbing all the copper mods is Cool My GPUs. Bam. So this is their website, coolmygpus.com. You can order it up for various things. They've got stuff for the Kingpins, for the 3060 Ti, 3070 Ti. You can get MX4 in small grams. I'm sure there's better deals out there if you want to find them, if you're trying to be budget orientated and you like the thermal paste. It's usually better to get it in the bigger tubes. You get a better price break when you grab a whole bunch of it. I always recommend people going down that route with it. And then, it's like they've got them for all the various stuff, including the A2000, guys. That's what we're going to be doing today. Is that's what all of this good stuff is. Oh, and cool. Jay Bohanan upgraded the RevTech board, added an M.2 SATA solid state drive. Works great. Nice. Hey, Jabo, is your RevTech a Gen 1 or a Gen 2 on that? Because like I got a Gen 1 and it doesn't give me as much of the BIOS options as I'd like to see. And the ones that I have, I haven't done the BIOS update on it yet. Won't register any of my NVIDIAs at all. Let's see here. Good stuff. Went from 100C to 86C on one, went from 86 to 82 on another, trying to figure out how to make another like backplate heatsink with the aluminum it ships with. Oh, nice, nice, nice. Send it to them. I'll fix it. You're right. Like I'm coming down there in a month anyway. Yeah, yeah, that's true. That is true. Right, it'll be about a month. I'm coming down. I'm going to the family mine at an undisclosed location. Maybe do some filming while I'm at this undisclosed location. So I still have this bad boy hashing out over here. It has been living life at 49 mega hash. Now, if it's on a super hot day, I had one of those. I had to downclock it. It was getting a little over 43 mega hash while I was having the hot spell. But I wanted to. Hey, baby. Pretty good, pretty good. Yes, I am, baby. Yeah, I was gonna warn you before you walked over here anyway. It's what the drawback of having the living room being the streaming room at the same time. Can't lounge around in the morning if I end up doing a live stream first thing in the morning. But I know you got yourself a good sleep. Yeah, yeah. I just figured you know it's the weekend, it's your day off, let you sleep in. How's day, man? The sun's not out. It's cold out there. The mining room absolutely loves it. Okay, you've got the version 2. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Nice. 1070 Ti's. At least I know I'm not the only one here. Still running 1070s and 1070 Ti's. I mean, they're still good. I mean, they don't use that much power. You're talking maybe what, 20, 25 cents a day? That's hash. If it hashes, it's on. But like I was saying, you can, if you're looking for some of this stuff now, I don't have any affiliate links to this stuff in any way, shape, or form. This is no chill. You know, it's just where I'm grabbing my stuff from. So, you guys, if you wanted to go down this route, you can go to here. If you got like a lathe or something like that, you could, you know, or a 3-axis milling machine, you can sit there and actually make this stuff out of copper yourself if you'd like to. I don't have any of that equipment myself to be able to do anything like this, so I'll just leave it up to them. They were already kitted out for it. I know where to grab this stuff. I did this on the 3090. It seemed to work pretty decently. I mean, it's not the memory temps don't get out of control on it. It used to get up to 100C. Now it sits in the low 90s. So I mean, it's got to work, you know, to a point. The core, it seems to be a lot happier on it too. So it's working pretty decent. So I figured I would try it on these A2000s. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna turn the rig off. And you know what? It's so easy to unplug these things because it's no 6-pin, no 8-pin, no, it just plugs into the motherboard. And I'll go over something else as soon as I grab this. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this bad boy off right now because I don't like turning rigs off unless it's I have to. Especially when the temp on it right now is 69. So before before I even go any further, this is what it's sitting at right now. I got it nice and stable. It's sitting at 82C on the memory, 69 on the core. Giggity. 86 watts, but if you look at the consumption wattage here, it's 90.53 watts. And with my meter, I can actually verify that it is using upwards of around 90 watts. So just to let you know, to get 49 mega hash, you are going to consume around 90 watts. And that will come up to the conversation that I will have as soon as I get back, guys. So 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab this. Glad the test bench is like right by the door. I mean, it's got a little bit of heat on the back side of this bad boy. Not too bad, not too horrible. So I've got to take off all these stupid little screws on it. Got a little dust, little heat dust going on the front side of this. That's funny. You can actually see a little bit of like bluing in the dust that was coming out and like getting stuck onto the front face panel. That's kind of funny. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is wow, I cannot believe. I mean, inside this little fan, whenever I took this fan apart the last time, I cleaned this. So if you guys are running A2000s at your home and you have dogs or cats or any other animals that have fur running around the house, you're going to be cleaning at least this fan a little more often because these fan blades are so small. I mean, it's not bad, but I would say 1/3 of the fan blade is covered in dust. And it's at the very, very bottom. You would think that it'd be more towards the top where it's grabbing the air in, but it's actually in the bottom of this. And that's what I've been noticing with this each and every time I do this is, no, it's not in an Octominer. Mine aren't. I've got my 3090s in the Octominer, unless you're talking to somebody else. But yeah, these in an Octominer would be pretty decent because in an Octominer, I'd be able to strip the case off, strip this fan off of there, 86 all of that, and let the Octominer be what blows through the cooler in here. Done. Much better setup on that. I can't wait to get some server cases in. That will be the way to go with this. So, without any further ado, let's get into this. Let's dive in. So hey. Ooh. What's happening for him? Won't work well on the I've never really been big about putting restrictions into fans because you slow down the airflow going through the fan. I don't know if you want to do that. I mean, depends on how you want to run things. It's kind of funny. They're like, cut along this line on the back. I guess somebody tried to cut it from the front, right? So let me get my NIF over here. Come on. All right, so this will be the first time. Static cling. First time I'm actually holding one of these plates. It looks like it's pretty straightforward on these. It's flat all around. There's been really... Kitty, no! She wants to be part of the video. All right, so no cutout. I mean, other than component cutouts getting out of the way, this will help center this on there. Nice and flat. And even if it's not perfectly flat, when you sandwich everything together, copper's pretty soft, and it should take whatever minor tweak is out of it, if there's any. And Cammy is bound and determined to be part of this video today. Cammy, no. Oh yeah, good point for him. Good point on that one. A2000s is way too small, and the Octominer has too many holes in the back. Makes sense that you would want to kind of try to help funnel the air to force it to go through the A2000s. I'm gonna do something like that. It even has an issue with having 8 3090s in there. I've got the Octominer 8 GPU case, and I love the case. It's got, it looks nice. It's well built. I like the hot swappable power supplies on it and everything, and all the data that it gives you. But it just doesn't seem like in between the GPUs that there's enough airflow forcing in between, that I need to stop the air from going around the card, because like the cards are so close together with the For the Win 3s in there, the 3090s, they're too close together. So I'm figuring if I can ram air, force it into those little slits, that it should solve the problem. I mean, it's like I've been able to run them on a hot day. It's just that the whole rig starts to thermal throttle a little bit. I'm sure these copper mods would help out on the memory side a little bit if I grabbed them for it. But yeah, I know it's an airflow issue for a smaller card with not so chunky of a cooler on it. In those Octo cases would probably be fine. But yeah, I totally feel what you're saying on there for him with the what you're saying on the case just not having the right airflow, that you're gonna have to help guide the airflow. And I hate how the Octominers, this is my only gripe, that they used 140 mil fans in there. I would have rather had 120 mil fans, and I can fucking get some. I would have been able to get so much of a better fan, but no, I gotta go. Oh, I didn't even think about it. 3D print a bracket so I can put the 120 in. Fucking genius. I solved it. Oh, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna look for a bracket. Oh, thank you for him. You just ignited the brain this morning. Woo! Or either that, the caffeine's starting to kick in. Let's get back to this. Ooh. Wrong button. All right, guys. So, my question today will be, whenever I pull this apart, man, that's just bothering me. There's so much dust down there. Yeah. See if I can get it like this. Hey, I can get it like this. Cool. That's what I'm talking about. That's disgusting. Blaming all you cats. This is you guys. You cute little fur balls. Alright, so. All these back ones around the perimeter are to hold the shroud on. This bracket holds the cooler on, of course. The sizings on the back are all the same. And then on the front, there are two Torx bits up here that are one size bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start releasing all of this awesome stuff. The screws are pretty obvious of which ones are which. You know, it's like the cooler bracket one, you know, they're going to be totally different than any of the other screws. The front shield are, you know, chromed out. So, I mean, you shouldn't be able to mix them up. But I want to know how well, because I put the 1.5 millimeter pad onto the memory, and I'm curious to see if, since the memory had the G-lid pad on there, G-lid pads, I don't know how to pronounce it, that leave it this size. I don't know if they had the proper squish on them to be able to contact the cooler to the die properly. It would have had good memory coverage, but I'm curious to see if it had good coverage outside of that. It up, turn the bit round. That's out of my way here. So we're just kind of lifting it up. Got the fan connector back here. Now, if you were also looking to save some power, you can sit there and assemble this with the wire hanging out if you wanted to, and then bolt this back together, and then you can power up. You can get an adapter for this and power the fan from the motherboard and have the motherboard actually control this. That will free up like 10 watts off of this. So that's a little trick to be able to get a little bit more performance out of this. Because I have animals, I'm actually surprised that the fan looks like to be more of a filter than this blower style cooler on here, but that's how small this little itty bitty little chunky little cooler is. This is like the equivalent of like a 3060 underneath here, or a 3050, more like a 3050. I'll call it a 3050, like a laptop style 3050. If I had to take a guess of what it is. So let's go ahead, let's crack this cooler off. Now, I do have a decent squish on my pads. The pads are not hard, but I haven't had it on there for very long. These G-lid pads, I like them, but they do turn a little harder quicker than I'd like to see, but they still have decent performance. So let's go ahead and crack this cooler off. I'm really curious to see how well the squish I had on the core for the paste. Like, was this up too high? I'm just taking them off in like little, couple little turns here and there, because this is like a big old spring, so I'm trying to not just like wing, because you can damage stuff. This thing, like, under pressure slides sideways, you're knocking components off, and good luck. You'll be sending your equipment to me in no time. for me to resolder everything back on that you blew off the board. And the big thing that you're going to get is the little capacitor here, the SP cap. Or you'll hit one of these MLC, the micro capacitors down here that are for filtering power. This is all power management. So you knock this stuff off, I'm going to have to hope that this overhead camera gets a tight enough shot into here so that I can do my soldering, because I do not have a microscope to really get down and dirty and see all the solder joints. So I got to hope that this camera that you guys are looking through now would be able to help you guys out. So just take it apart in like little successions like I just did. It makes life easy. See if I can pick this thing straight up, because I don't want to, if I twist it, it'll... There we go. All right. So I got good squish. But it looks like it's thick. Hold on here. Let's put this onto manual, and then bam. Come on. Oop. Wrong one. Wrong switch. There we go. So there is the squish. So if you see through here, it's a little thick. And then we've got proper contact through here, because on my cooler that's sitting in the same orientation here, on the cooler side, it's got coverage, but it's really thin, and I like that. So to me, through here was a good coverage. On this side here was not so much of a, not coverage wise, but squish. So it didn't squish down hard enough on this bottom edge. Could that have been due to the thermal pads not squishing enough? Possibly. I have no idea. And I'm going to be testing this concept actually. Let's see. Should switch. Bam. I'm going to be testing this concept by taking these pads, which are the 1.5, and I'm going to transfer it over onto my other A2000 and see if it makes much of a difference, because the temperature on the other one is pretty decent, and all I did was replace the paste on it and kept the original pads. So this time I'm seeing that I had enough paste on there, but it didn't sit it down hard enough. So I'm gonna go ahead. I forgot to grab my caliper to measure the copper plates. I'm curious to know how thick this is before I even put it together. All right, got my calipers here. All right. All right, so I'm making sure I'm nice and zeroed out on this. Measure it on a spot that's not gonna matter. So this is a little over 1 millimeter. Now I'm wondering where it is on the memory side. 1.1. We are 1.1 millimeter on this. So 1.5 may be too thick. No. Like, no, Candy. He like wants to jump up here really bad. All right. So, and basically this is just gonna get locked in on there just like this. So you can see how it's basically hammy stop. So you can see that it's got a little cutout for the screw hole here. It's got a little cutout to avoid this little capacitor down here. And it kind of helps locks itself in right around the... Oh, that is wild how they got that on there. Hammy, stop. Right now, stop. That is wild. It's like... Oh, this makes sense. Okay. So on the cooler, right where the memory is, there's like a step down in here, a step up off. So it's not all at the same level. So, wow. I'm gonna hammy stop. Stop. My kitty wants to be part of the show where I'm working right now because she wants to be like right in front of me. She's like, pay attention to me, spoil me and love me. And I'm like, after I'm done, cooperate with me. She doesn't want to cooperate. Looks quite dry though. Actually, no, I did this like last month. Yeah, like no, not even. This was a couple weeks ago. This is only a couple of weeks worth of usage on here. So we're gonna go ahead and take up the pads real quick, put that off to the side. Right. So yeah, this memory section has like a little step up here. So I wonder what the step up is. So let me zero this out and I'm gonna measure this step up. We are at 0.65. So we got a 0.65 rise off of the aluminum cooler block on here. So it's the same over here. That up a little bit, set you on the flat. Yep. So both of these landings are a 0.65 of a millimeter lifted. So this definitely makes up for, and what I'm gonna do too is I'm gonna clean this up, and then I wonder what the measurement is. If the die is 0.65-ish above. So let me go ahead and wipe this off real fast. Let me get my copper out of the way. That copper really hugs on nice. I like that. The only place I touch. Please be the only place I touch. I accidentally touched my towel. And I did use thermal grizzly paste on here, so it's not like I used any cheap off-the-shelf stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and clean this all up on here. Man, it's like super like greasy when it's like fresh like this. Because I did this not that long ago, guys. All right. Now let's go ahead and measure the die height. I'm curious on the die height now. Zero that out. Find a good spot where I'm not on any components. We are 0.9 of a difference. So probably with the thermal paste, the copper, that probably makes up the height difference to make sure that everything's nice and level. Wow, that's actually kind of nice. I like it. Still, let's go ahead and get messy. Where I've got my thermal grizzly. This is they're non-conductive, of course. Get my little spreader. Make sure I grab a little paper towel. If you guys got any questions, Techman. So when I took off the original pads on the A2000s, they were like really squishy. Like almost like a thermal foam pad, almost, with the amount of squish. Cammy, stop. Oh, the baby girl wants to play. She's like, you never live stream at this time. What are you doing? So the pads that originally came off, because they've got such a massive squish on them, they actually measured out closer to 2 millimeters. But when you go to where the pad actually contacted, they were about 1.5-ish millimeters. And Mikkel's like, everybody's doing 1.5 millimeter on there. Don't do the 2. And I was like, okay, cool. Because I was going to put the same thickness of pad that I pulled off back onto it, not realizing the original pad has a massive amount of squish that the Jalid pad did not. I don't know what kind of pads they actually utilize. It would be very curious to see. I also want to see what the landing height is on this, because this is going to stop it from going any further into the board. So total height from the PCB is too hard, too fast. There we go. So we're about 2.4 lift. I got 1.1 off the memory module, plus 1, plus the thermal paste. Yeah, that actually adds up. All right, so I think the copper mod will actually perform the best outside of trying to put on a thermal pad, it looks like. Damn you, what are you doing over there? I'm going to turn my calipers off because they're digital with a little watch battery that will die quickly. So let's go ahead and get all messy on this, guys. Like, I may have done 2 millimeter on mine. I will have to check. Definitely check. I mean, you can get better performance off of it if the die isn't thermal throttling too. And this is a GA106 850A1 on the die, if anybody's curious. But this is definitely, whenever I see them on these little green PCBs like this is laptop solution style GPU. That's why it is a low wattage core, because this was designed to be in a laptop. That got snatched up for enterprise grade usage for its low power consumption, but high compute modules. So there's a solution for everybody to get what they need, right? So from here, I just make sure that I get it onto the tops of these the chiplets nicely. You don't have to make sure you pack it in between the chiplets at all. That's not where you want to have the cooling, because that'll actually start hot spotting between the modules. So I try to keep them on top of the modules the best that I can. I know other people have done it other ways. It's okay. I don't think it'll massively hurt anything to do it that way, but and then now I get to play. Yeah. And I dabbed it. I dabbed it. I did it. I knew I was going to do it. I'm trying to not make too much of a mess here. If you are good at arts and crafts, you will love this. And again, I use this is all non-conductive, so make sure whatever you're using is the same. You got to treat this like you're pasting up a normal GPU. For anybody who's new at this and is not very sure about what you're doing here, you can certainly send this over to me and I will make it a work of art. This way. You don't have to have this super thick gob on there. This is pretty much all you'll really need. And then you can sit there and set this bad boy down here. Like that. Now, you just need to put the paste on top of where the memory is basically going to sit. So you can either put it onto this side, or you can just lay it here and spread it out yourself. I'm probably gonna go ahead and just slather it onto here. And you don't have to get all of this nuts with it, you know, per se. I mean, once you put the cooler on, it'll spread a lot of this itself, but I just want to make sure. I want to give this the best possible chance ever. I may need a little bit more over here. Your shot just a little bit. Eat scoop. All right, so now we got all of that together. Now we can marry these two together, and this thing is ready to start going back together. I'm going to put a little bit on the decor here. And this is how I've done all of my cores. I've always put a little X on there. I always have good coverage on it. So let's see if we can maintain good coverage and better performance than we've ever had before. So time to get this thing back together. Put it on this side. Come on. I hate how this board is set up. Got it that time. Like, you try to be nice about it and support everything, and it's just like the cooler needs to be a little longer. Send it home. Tight. Tight. Now, flip over. How to squish it. I'm trying to like not make an absolute mess of everything. Yeah, everything. All right, so we got good squishage. I see ooze. I can't see it down into the core section so much. Oh, there I go. Oh, that's so nice. So nice. Oh wow, that actually really spread really nicely. Yes, that I will agree with you on, for him. I was noticing the same thing, the inductor rail that's right here. And I don't know if, because like the power controller that's right here, guys, there's no way to cool it. And you don't need to worry about the inductor here, because this is just coil of wires. but the capacitors that are right on the other side, the capacitors might not be very happy, but they do make high temp capacitors, and these do look like the high temp capacitors that are down in here. You do not need to worry about this. This is just copper coil windings. They can take a lot of abuse, but these down in here, I hope that these are the really high temp. If they are, this isn't an issue. If it's not, this will burn out. But I would think in an enterprise grade solution, they would have realized that this could be a potential problem if they put the wrong one down. Because I know these ones that are here, the purples, are high temp. The blacks are high temp, but standard high temp. And these are more of your extremer high temp. And I believe they put standard down in here. So with that being said, it's not a horrible thing. I would have liked to have seen a little bit of the higher temp stuff, but this is like your major power controlling here. So it is what it is. I'm not totally worried about it. You would have to really flow some serious power through these to really get them up to the temperature where they'll fail. And at 90 watts, no, these are rated for a lot higher flow than what's here. So I would be more worried about the memory rail power going to everything, because NVIDIA is really horrible about the memory rails overheating and dying prematurely. So it is what it is, though. So let's go ahead and put this back together. Can you measure the TechMan? Can you measure the gap from the top of the heat sink to the cover, and to see if there's more heat? I see what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I get it. Let's see if I can, if there's a way. Let me see if I can just like loosely put this on. There we go. Come on. Come on. Come on. There we go. Okay. It's not going to show it too well, but here we go. What TechMan is talking about is the distance between the case here and the cooler here. I would say there's a distance of about a piece of paper in here, TechMan. So not really. The cooler height is as high as it can really go. I mean, you could just blow a big fan directly down onto this, because it's not like the top of the fin stack is capped over to make it a blower only style cooler, which is nice. But I see what you're saying. Fucking put like a Delta fan directly onto this, woo, and cool this down in a hurry. You know what? I will do that. You just perked my curiosity, TechMan. So I will let this thing hash over the weekend in this configuration. And then come next week, I'm going to take this fan off of it. We're going to save 10 watts. And I'm going to put a Delta fan right onto this fucking heatsink and see if I can manage the heat better than this poor little itty bitty, please, sir, I will blow a little air on you, sir. Shh. And it fucking doesn't do shit, really. You're not going to tell me that this is blowing adequate air. The fan, if you look at this, the fan's not even the size of the fin stack. The only way that I would ever sit there and say that this fan can do anything is if this fan was the same size as the fin stack, but it's not. So I bet you just from this piece of shit fan that PNY put on here, this could be the holdback of performance on this. So I will be doing that this week. So this weekend, I'm going to let it hash in this configuration, just because I want the data, and then we're going to have some fun. Ooh. So let's go ahead. I'm going to plug this back in here, guys. 3D print a funnel, kind of. Yeah, I could. Yeah, that. Borheim, you got good ideas, bro. You got good ideas. I love it. I definitely could 3D print a stand that I can, will hold everything, and then put like see, if I get one of my Delta fans right up onto this cooler anyway, it's got no choice but you're talking 260 CFM fans blowing on it full throttle. I mean, I won't hear it in the mining room, really. There's so many Delta fans in there anyway. But what I can do, and this is my thought, expanding on your thought for him, would be test it with just setting the my Delta fan right on it, and then 3D printing a funnel and seeing if the funnels changes the thermal deltas on this. If it does, then we have data. So I will do it all over. I will do it both ways. Well, true for him. I will be giving up the wattage off the card, and if that could give me more performance off of this card, because the Delta fan, so a good Delta fan is between 15 and 25 watts. The ones that I have are the 25 watters. So I am utilizing 15 more watts for the additional cooling. True. But I get to save the 10 watts off this card. So, I mean, yes, I lose over here, but I gain. I'll see if I gain over on the other side. Because if I get more performance off of it that way, or it stays the same, I want to know. So if it stays the same, then what I'll do is I'll get the extension for this fan. If everything stays the same, and I will just hook this fan up to the motherboard and let the motherboard control it and save the wattage off of this, even though I'm still using it. But if there's a zero-sum gain with the Delta fan, then it's not worth spending the extra 15 watts. John Germain, good to know. He's like, eBay sells a 3D printed funnel for the A2000s for a 92 millimeter, and it's two pieces you glue together. If that's out there, then the STL file should be somewhere I can find it, and I can 3D print it myself. And me 3D printing it will be a couple of bucks versus me sitting there spending whatever on eBay. Yeah. If you think about it, placing an A2000 with no cover really tight to each other and use one Delta fan. That is that thought for him is you're spot on. 100% spot on with that. And that's where, like, putting them into a server case, idea of what people, because these things were designed to go into a server case, if you really think about it. So it's just a matter of, if you're going to put these into a server case, making sure all the fan air goes through the cooler. But yeah, you are spot on for him. So if I can pack them really good together where they're They're not so tight that they short on the backside of each other. That's one. But that's a gimme, right? I mean, that there is a no-brainer idea. But yeah, you can technically utilize one 120 mil fan and probably cool. If you put a 3D printed shroud to them, you could probably cool 4 to 1 fan. There's enough airflow on one Delta fan. If you wanted to be do project overkill, you do 2 A2000s per 1 Delta fan. You put a shroud that forces all that air to go through past the coolers like you would in a normal blower card. And I bet you would live life really nicely. And then like especially if you do it 3 to 1. 3 to 1's probably the math on there. And this way you are ahead on wattage. So if you're using 25 watts and you give up 3 fans off of there, you're saving 5 watts. You got 5 watts worth of saving and 5 times the cooling properties. I think you just sent me down the rabbit hole for him. User rate. Oh, that's what. Is that what they did, John Germain? John Germain's like user razor blade scraper on the bottom of the heatsink. The original paste is baked into it and must be removed. Dude, I sat here scrubbing that thing for a while, trying to get all that fucking nasty paste off of my cooler. And then the thermal pad was stuck to it too. The original thermal pad on this A2000 was a pain in the butt to get off, and it left a glue residue. Yeah, you're rebuilding a hair dryer on this one. So let's go ahead, get this thing back together, get it hashing, guys. So we got this all in here. I've got make sure I plug that in. Yes, I did. Make sure you're seated properly in here. All right, cool. Now I can sit here and put everything back together. But yeah, I'm just doing a lot of this stuff, just pulling some data, because I'm curious to see where the performance gain is on these. All right, now, and then I also want to cut open this grate in here because it's really not needed. Small little screws, fat little fingers. You don't have to go like super gorilla tight with this. You're only screwing into like copper or brass or whatever the inserts are on this. So. Now I gotta flip this bit around here. And we can get All right, so that's back together now, guys. I'm gonna go plug this back in, turn the rig on. If you guys got any questions, certainly ask them away. I'll be right back. Right, clean up a little bit. Now with any of the bigger tubes or any of the tubes, if you're ever wondering how not to make a mess, after you're done, just slightly pull back on the plunger and it will draw it back in, and then you can just, if there's any like residual laying off to the side, you can just wipe it off. Pro tip. And then if it's got a cap like this, it doesn't need to be tight. You will break it. All right, now I'm just kind of waiting for it to come and go. Oh, nice, John Germain. He's like, Thermal Grizzly lowered the temps 2C more than the MX4. That's actually good to know. It's alive. It's alive. It didn't die. I didn't kill it, guys. It did not break under my watch today. Maybe tomorrow. Stay tuned. So, it is 47 on the core, 66C on the mem rate now. We got 100% fan. I've got it. This is shunt modded, guys. So I did do the front side shunt mod. Let's see if the temps improve. Now I'm looking for basically the core like to live life a little hot. So if having the copper mod on there lowers the whole cooler down to where it makes better contact on the core, then this is gonna be a huge gain here. It shouldn't even get that hot at all. I mean, it's not hot in the room, but it was at 66C earlier. Remember that. It was 66C in there. So let's see if we get an improvement on thermals. Oop, wrong button. There we go. So it went to 47C for a moment. Oop. We're at 40. We're at 59 and 59 with 80 on the mem. This is still not bad. You insulated your AC unit exhaust. I think it helped. It could have. It very well could have. Let's get into the chat here. What are you guys all talking about here? Forheem's like, Checkman actually did the same. I had the same idea. If he said it, I missed it. Put 4 cards in a square with no top stick. Oh, yes, you did. Good call for him. He's like, I have to give it to the tech man. He said it first. I just saw yours first. So awesome. I fortunately do have 4 of these to test out. I got 2 of them here, and I could have something printed up to test this out so that whenever I go down to the family mine in an undisclosed location, I will be able to set this test up, actually. So I won't be able to test 4-on-1 Delta fan right now, but, big but, I like big bucks and I can't deny, right? But I will have it printed up, and I'm going to be bringing all my equipment down to the family mine at the end of the month, guys. Setting everything up in the mining facility, guys. Yo! So I will have all of my, well, I have like a test bench here, but I will have all of that gear out there in an undisclosed location, which will be amazing. I will be absolutely loving this. So far, it looks like it's improved. I mean, I've got a 5. No. Don't make me a liar. But it was at 66 C before I pulled it off. I mean, right now we're still 4 C better, 4 Celsius better still, guys. But I'll have everything down in the mining facility, getting all of that up and going. And while I'm down there, I can do some testing. I'll be out there for a couple of days before I drive on back. Clean up my little spatula here. If it stays here right where it's at, I'll be happy with this. This is a 4 Celsius better. Throw this away. In Arizona, your best temps are 74 C and 90 C. Not bad, not bad. Looks like it's stabilizing right at that 62 to 86 C. Running at just under 90 watts. To me, this is not bad, considering my 1080s, my 1080 Ti's get between 40 to 47 mega at 200 watts. So to me, at 90 watts, this is like a bazillion times better. In any sense. Your worst temps are 84 and 100. Now 100 on the mem is not bad. You're good to go to you're good to about what, 100, depending on how they set the BIOS on it. Some BIOSes start regulating the mem on there when the temps hit, like, I think 99C. But anywhere from 99C to 120C on the memory, you are actually well within specification. I was really surprised to find out that you can actually push the memory temps to like 120, 130C and still have no performance loss on there. They just don't want to risk damaging anything, so they limit it to, they hard cap it to go no higher than 110. So that's their failsafe. Okay, so these ones are throttled at, I would say 103 is the temp where they BIOSed it. But I haven't had any of mine go up to 104. But what I did have, so before I BIOS modded this thing, I had it sitting on a riser. I got a little bit more performance because it just let me have more power. Well, since I BIOS modded it, it seemed like the riser was not very happy about it, and it was turning off every so often. I plugged it back into the motherboard. It's been fine since. I haven't had one shutdown on this except for today because I'm doing a modification again. But you can see it in my graph here that there's no breaks in this graph. If I was able to pull the information up further back, I can show you that it was turning off every 3-ish hours while the mining room was around 90C. Or not 90C. I'm sorry, it was 90 degrees Fahrenheit in there. And so it was like, what? That would be 35-ish. Yeah, 35-ish C. The card would just shut off. I would reboot it and it was fine. And then I watched it shut down again just out of nowhere. Didn't throw any error of any sort. Just turned off. I was like, why'd you just reboot? So I unplugged it off the riser, plugged it into the motherboard, and it's been fine ever since. So I think if you're going to run these modded on risers, be careful of which risers you have. And if you start having an issue, that riser cannot handle the 90 watts flowing through it. I'm curious to see if I put it onto the... if I use to cool my GPUs, what is it? Their 10 capacitor riser, would that handle the extra wattage load on it? Maybe. I will test this out this week because I'm really curious. Because like on the board that I have, it's on a small form factor board with a 5950X in there, but there's only 3 slots on there, so I would like to see if I can, put a riser expansions port into it and actually be able to use these on risers modded. If I can, amazing. That makes life a whole lot easier for me at home testing with these. Just because now I can isolate power. It's easier for me to plug my meter up to it so that I can play around with it. But yeah, I think it's just an issue with possibly with some of the risers not wanting the 90 watt consistent current draw off of this. Possibly is the issue. Like, yes, you're pulling the 90 watts on the riserless motherboard too. Yes, I'm doing. I'm not. Mine aren't modded at the mine. They won't be modded until I get down there. Once I get down there, I will be going down there with my soldering station, tweezers, and all of these. I'm gonna modify all of them while I'm down there. And I will also be getting, I want to get the distance between on our motherboard that I'm using at the family mine. I'll have to have Mikkel measure that out probably so that I can make sure that I get a fan shroud for a 120 mil Delta fan big enough to go blow past 4 of the cards. He gave me a price on that. I haven't. He responded to me last night, Tech Man. I still need to respond back to him this morning, and go from there. But I think he's ready to ship. He finally gave me a shipping cost price on this. So, so. Oh, I'm sure for him. I'm actually sure of that. That would be interesting to run a water block variation on these A2000s, because that would actually give it make it pretty damn fucking efficient. I can get a triple thick 480 mil rad, and it would probably cool down 8 of those, because I can put 2 kingpins that are 460-ish watts of power through mine that I have right now. So I've got 2 kingpins on a single 480 mil radiator, but I do have Delta fans on them. So this radiator has all the airflow, no doubt. And I bet you I could do that with 8 A2000s on one of those radiators. Get a cheap little D5 pump with a small little 150 mil rad reservoir on there. Good to go. Oh, Bisky makes them? Oh, good. John Jermaine, good to know. Good to know. They're out of stock at Primo Chill. Okay. Yeah, I'll look into the Bisky ones, because I'm familiar with them, and they've got a U.S. division also. They do have a location here, but I know that their main manufacturing is in Sichuan, China. Everything's fucking made in Sichuan. I swear. All right, so this cooler is actually doing pretty decent. So 62C on the core, 86C on the MEM. And the other rig is sitting at, now this is also using a lot less wattage. So you're talking 20, almost 20 less watts. And this one's running at 60C and 86C. So running more wattage, the memory is at the same temperature, running more wattage. So I wonder how much of an improvement without modding the next one. I want to put the copper mod onto the unmodded one and see where the deltas drop to on that, the thermal deltas. But that's not bad. I mean, I'm 2C warmer on the core than the non shunt modded, but the MEM's at the same temp. So, all right, and I'm like I said, I'm running almost 20 more watts. $20 more watts for 6 mega hash. Is it worth it? Well, good question. That one is actually a really good question. I will say, on one hand, 100%. If you're in the concept of every hash counts, I don't care what the price is, every hash counts, then yes, this is totally worth it. If you are putting it in the context of this is still more efficient than X GPU, like for me, I can compare the wattage on this to the wattage of a 1080 Ti, right? So the 1080 Ti, for all arguments purposes, let's say I'm getting 45 mega hash off of it, right? But I'm getting 45 mega hash at 210 watts. Is 210 watts worth 45 mega hash, or is 90 watts worth 49 mega hash? So it's kind of how you look at your perspective. So if you are looking for, get your butt out of my face, bro. What the hell is that? Nasty cat. So, I mean, it kind of depends on the context of the question, really. So if you are looking for, hey, I don't make a lot of money, every hash counts, but I need every hash to be as efficient as humanly possible. No, this modification is not worth it for the shunt mod. 20 watts for 6 mega hash is well, and this card actually started off at 40.89 mega hash. So I'm getting, let's say, 8 mega hash off of it for 20 watts. So for me, I don't care what the price is. Every hash counts. I'm the, give it all to me. Just unlimit the card, give it to me. I don't care if I pay a little extra at the pump. I want to be able to hit the gas pedal when I want. So for me, it's worth it. But if you're looking for, hey, I can budget $100 a month out of my pocket for paying the electric bill outside of what my normal usage is. Then you might not want to do the modification, because at the end of the day, you're not gaining this huge amount for the efficiency you're losing. So it kind of just depends on where you are in retrospect of mining. So me, I pay my electric bill. 20 watts is not gonna make or break me. 20 watts is the equivalent of what, 5-6 cents. I'm not really worried. It's like I'm still running 1070 Ti's. These are 110 watts, 120 watts for 30 mega hash. Is that efficient? It's worse than this card, and I'm getting better wattage than a 1070, and I'm getting more efficiency than a 1080 Ti. So if you're trying to get off of older hardware and you looked at these A2000s as a viable mining solution, then you're leaps and bounds ahead, even if you shunt mod them. So it's a 1-to-1 with it's a 1-to-1 with hash. Yes. So I mean, it just depends. So it's like, for me, it's not so much of this. It's like, would I say, hey guys, go out of your way, do this? No. But if you wanted somebody to shunt mod these for you, and you don't have a soldering station, and you're like, hey, I want this done, I don't care, I just want it done, give me all the hashes. Well, you can send it over to me if you want to, and I will shunt mod it for you for a small nominal fee. Shunt mods aren't too expensive, so my time plus I'll rethermal paste it and all that good stuff for like, I don't know, 50 bucks, 60 bucks, something like that. I haven't figured it out, but I'll definitely we're willing to do this for you. I'll do it cheaper for most than most people will, just because it's not a whole lot of time. You're talking, I made an hour and a half video here. Hour and a half video of me chit-chatting, explaining things while I did it. If I just sat down and did the shunt mod plus redoing the thermals on this, I'm probably looking at 20-30 minutes of my time. So yeah, thermal paste. If you want the copper mod done too, you can let me know. I'd even be willing to do the copper mod for you, but that'll cost you extra, because the copper mod doesn't come from me. I'm not the one making it. You'll put an A2000 in with your 6600 XT rig. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna be pulling the same. It's kind of funny. The 6600 XTs will use less wattage. Too funny for him. Yeah, I'm like you're. I mean, it's like even if you're dicking around, it's like the longest it should take you to shut mod it and redo the thermals on there. If you're dicking around, watching watching me on YouTube while you're doing it, might take you 30 minutes. John Germain, you bring up a good little topic there. So John Germain just put in the chat. He's like the solder would not stick to the original resistor until he cleaned it with desoldering wick. So I don't know if you were using flux. Anytime I'm soldering, I always use flux. It helps with heat transfer. It helps the solder do its job. But from factory, they use non-lead solder. So if you are using non-lead solder, you won't have an issue. But the non-lead solder takes a little bit more heat to get to be molten and will not let you solder leaded solder on top of it. So if you've got a leaded core soldering wire, you've got to remove the unleaded solder off of there before you start soldering with the leaded solder. Know that your leaded solder is also going to have a lower temperature. This is the reason why they use unleaded solder for, a couple of reasons. They're trying to stop using lead everywhere because of lead poisoning. You get a guy that's soldering thousands of joints a day. You don't want your best soldering person to succumb to lead poisoning over the course of 10 years. That's one. Two, the unleaded solder, because of the temperature thresholds on there, the joints hold up better because there's also less impurities, yada, 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 yada. I have lead-free solder. So that's why if you watched my video, you just watched me just dab it on there directly onto it because I'm using the same solder they are. My Hacko soldering station, I'm already using it at like a rate around 800 degrees. So as soon as I touch my tool to the solder, instantly turns into molten. And if I'm ever worried, you don't always have to clean it with solder wick. You can sit there and if you've got like me, I got the Hacko hot air station. I mean a soldering station. I can take the tip off, and I've got a cleaning tip, which has like a little cavity in the tip and I can put some solder into the tip, and then I can just kind of bring it over to the old solder, and that solder will actually pick up the unleaded solder, and then it'll clean it. It's kind of like a ghetto clean without a solder wick, and then you can just clean it off and do it again, and then you should be able to solder everything back together. Little tip on that. Oh, nice. eBay sells the copper plates from Germany, same price. Nice. Yes, for him. It's where you're gonna see it mostly today will be in automotive, not electronics. Electronics got away from the leaded solder at least 15 years ago. They started like transitioning away from it, just because of the temperature threshold and the amount of soldering these people are doing. They were noticing that their people were dying. So yes, I've actually got lead core solder that has usually the lead core solder is the same solder that has the flux in it. So you'll see it as flux core soldering wire that has the lead still in it. But if it's not fluxed, it won't. You won't really find. It's hard to find. Hey, you still sell the lead one? Nice. Yes, I for him, I've transitioned myself, but I have an old spool of fucking leaded solder still in my toolbox. No, I don't have any. There are no gray hairs in this beard. None. Don't look at the beard. There's no gray hair in there. I swear. No, I've been wrenching on cars 20 plus years, so yeah, it's like I've got lead stuff. I want to say your main places to get it are slowly getting rid of the leaded stuff, but a lot of the flex core soldering wires are still have a percentage of lead still in them. I haven't found one that doesn't. I mean, unless it's specialized. Not saying that they don't exist. I just haven't found one that had the flux core soldering wire that didn't have the lead and that didn't have a little bit of particulate lead in there. I think that's something it needs for the flux or something. I would have to talk to somebody who knows more about it than me. I just use the products. But it's awesome that you're in the automotive world too. For him, I'm actually an engine builder. That I build hot rods and race cars and do some restoration work every so often. I do a little dabble in a little bit of body work here and there. It's fun. It's fun. So, does anybody else got any other comments or questions before I head up out of here? While you guys are typing in any comments or questions, I know there's a little bit of a delay. If you guys get into gaming, simulated racing games and stuff like that, you can check out Crypto and Hot Rods on Twitch or Crypto and Hot Rods Gaming on YouTube, which is my alternative channel, where I push all of my gaming content to. So, it's like you can come over there, hang out while I'm gaming, give it a check out. Like if I'm gaming there and you got a mining question, crypto related question, certainly shoot the shit with me over there. It's just, my gaming side of it is like fireside chat. I'm just kick back, casual. No fucks given. I know. I love my Hatco, dude. Oh, I love it. The Hatco. I even have I forget who makes my my hot air station, but I have a really nice hot air station too. The next thing I want to get for my Hatco is the hot tweezers. Oh, I love the hot tweezers. Oh, nice. Then you would feel right at home with my '84 Porsche 928. Hey, I'm cultured. I'm cultured. I don't hate on the Euros, man. Fucking if I had a chance, I would definitely get into GT3, GT4 racing all fucking day long, dude. It's like nice. Yeah. I've worked with a whole bunch of them for him, but that's older than me. It's not older than me though. I'm still older than my Porsche. Now, what's older than me is my '74 Chevy Chevelle. My Chevelle is a little older than me. Yes, it is, John Germain. Hot air station is the best way for reflowing solder, or putting on solder chips that you just resolder balled. Because again, you're reflowing solder, so I mean, it fits right underneath what you're saying. So yes. No, I don't have a reflow oven, but I have a nice a really nice hot air station. I mean, that fucker costed me like $600. Put a little more culture in it than the petri dish. Oh, that's too funny. That's too funny. So anybody else got any other comments or questions? I'll probably start doing some sim racing here for in a little while. If you guys are interested in all of that. Science jokes. Science jokes. Oh, nice. That's fucking cool. I back in the day, I used to do TVs, VCRs, radios, home electronics. My mom and my stepdad owned an electronic repair business back in the late '80s, early '90s. So as a kid, I was sitting here fixing Trinitron TVs, home theater systems. I was the guy that would I was because I was so small and I fit underneath the dash. They would have me fish out people's stereos out of their cars. I would fix their radios, put them back in. Needless to say, the first rabbit hole I went down was car customizations because I knew how all these fucking dashes came apart, and I could sit there and retool these people's dashes to exactly what they want, modify them, fiberglass them, customize everything: TVs, navigation systems, flip out screens out of the dash, flip down. I mean, like, think about Pimp My Rides, and I was fucking doing that shit before all of that stuff got popular back in the day. Nice. Yes, it was. That's nice. Pimp My Rides. Yeah, they did a lot of good stuff over on Pimp My Rides, but it was just like I was doing all that stuff, and I'm like, bro, I already did that. What do you mean that's new? I know 8 people at car competitions that have been doing this for a while. They've been fucking Pimp My Rides kind of pissed off the mod community because they were basically harvesting ideas and making it sound like it was theirs, and it wasn't. I like some of the stuff that even I was doing. I'm not going to take credit for it. I mean, yeah, I installed it, I manufactured, I made the bracketry for it, but I'm not going to say, oh, this is my idea, this is my creation. Yes, but not my idea. I took it from this guy over here who implemented it like this, which gave me an idea to implement it like this, and you're borrowing an idea, but Pimp My Rides made it seem like they were all original. Take it easy for him. He's like 9 o'clock over here. Got it still at the office. Wife won't kill him. Give her some reason. Take it easy for him. Glad to have you guys here. With that too, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna sign off here. I know the wife has been up for a little while, and I've barely even said hi to her. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Definitely check out DCA Adventure at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, guys, where me and Mikkel will be going over the modifications that I did today. or now with the A2000, go over the hashing results, go over the temperatures with it, all that good stuff. Just kind of like a recap. Please be there, check it all out, and with that, guys, definitely smash that Lizzie like button. Subscribe if you're new here. Make sure you press the bell notification. If you are into mining and you're like, hey, it's expensive to mine at my house and I need a better solution, check out the Family Mine LLC. That is me and Mikkel's business that we are in the process of starting up, coming towards the end of this month. We're going to be getting the big facility up and rolling. I'll be bringing my equipment down there, like I said, at the end of the month. Get all that stuff set up at the facility. And then from there, if you join the Patreon, link down below, and join into the VIP top tier, you will be given a first chance on having your rigs hosted at the Family Mine, where you will have full control over your rigs, guys. Full control. So if you find that interesting, where you're going to have your rigs properly taken care of by professional miners at a rate that's a little bit more reasonable than maybe mining out of your house, or if you live in New York City, where they just basically fucking put a crypto mining ban on the whole state, you might want to have your stuff sent over to me and Mikkel, the Family Mine. We'll host it for you. And yeah, so definitely check out Patreon down below. Get in there. The top tier people will be given first crack at that. Now, if you are already part of the DCA Patreon and you are in DCA your mining, you're already in that VIP tier. So you don't have to be in both, but you got to, if you want to have that VIP early access, you have to be in one of them first. That is the rules. I'm just saying. This is just kind of a way for me and Mikkel to reward anybody that has helped support us through Patreon. So if you find that interesting, if you're like, hey, I can't afford the Patreon, that's fine. It's just that you'll have to wait a little bit longer until we open the gates to the public. All right? With that being said, definitely smash that Lizzie like button, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys on the next one. And remember, guys, stay savage. Ooh.